You're standing in front of your boss. You've prepared everything. You know your presentation inside out. But suddenly, your mind goes completely white.
Your hands start shaking, your voice cracks, everything you practiced vanishes.
It's like someone switched off your brain.
And here's the thing, you're not broken. This is completely normal.
So today, we're talking about exactly why this happens, and more importantly, how to make sure it doesn't happen to you again.
Stay with us.
Welcome to our channel, Talk, Learn, Teach. I'm Marcus, and I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today.
And I'm Sophie. Before we jump into today's conversation, I want to give a massive welcome to everyone who's new here. Honestly, if you're just discovering us, we're so glad you found your way to this channel.
And to everyone who's been with us for a while, you're amazing. Your support means the world.
So here's what we're asking everyone who enjoys this episode. Please like this video, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to share this with a friend who might need to hear it. Trust me, we all have that friend who could use some help with handling pressure.
So true. All right, Sophie, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like your entire brain just shut down?
Oh my goodness, yes. I had this moment a few years back when I was interviewed on a big podcast. I prepared for weeks. I had talking points, stories, everything ready. But when those lights came on and I saw the camera, something just clicked off inside me.
Really? What happened?
I started talking and I couldn't find my words. I kept saying and I felt like such a fool. After the interview, I was so angry at myself because I knew all that material. I'd practiced it 100 times.
That's exactly what we're talking about today, and I think a lot of people will recognize themselves in that story. What's interesting is that your brain wasn't actually shutting down. Something else was happening.
Tell me more.
You see, when we face situations where something important is on the line, our bodies trigger what scientists call a stress response. It's actually a mechanism that should help us.
Wait, it should help us? But it felt like it was sabotaging me.
Exactly, and that's the misunderstanding. Our nervous system thinks it's protecting us. When you stepped in front of that camera, your brain registered danger and it flooded your system with stress chemicals like adrenaline.
So my body was literally preparing me to run or fight?
Yes, but here's the problem. We're not running from wild animals anymore. We're giving presentations, we're taking exams, we're meeting new people. And all that extra energy has nowhere to go, so it messes with our ability to think clearly.
Interesting. So what's the scientific term for what happens when we completely freeze up?
It's called performance breakdown, and it happens to absolutely everyone. Athletes, musicians, public speakers, students, job interviewees. No one is immune to it. Even the absolute best performers in the world experience it.
Even professionals?
Oh, definitely. Let me tell you about someone incredible. His name was Michael, and he was a concert pianist. We're talking about someone who had spent decades perfecting his craft.
A concert pianist. Those people have to memorize entire concertos.
Exactly. Michael had spent decades perfecting his craft. He could play the most complicated pieces without even thinking about it. But one evening, something happened at a particular performance that changed everything for him.
What happened?
He walked out on stage, and somehow, about halfway through the most famous piece in his repertoire, he lost it. He forgot where he was in the music. His fingers wouldn't cooperate. The audience went silent. Pause. It was devastating for him.
Oh no. What did he do?
After that night, Michael did something really interesting. Instead of abandoning music or feeling ashamed, he became fascinated by why it happened. He studied psychology. He started talking to other musicians about their experiences, and he discovered something crucial.
What?
He realized that his mind was actually working against him. He was so focused on not making a mistake, so anxious about his performance, that he was essentially telling his own brain to malfunction.
Wait, so he was causing his own breakdown?
Not consciously, no, but his anxiety about playing perfectly actually diverted all his mental energy away from the actual playing. His brain couldn't do both at the same time. It couldn't perform and worry about performing simultaneously.
That makes sense. So what changed for him?
Michael completely shifted his approach. Instead of trying to be perfect, he started practicing a completely different way of thinking about performance. He started training his mind to focus on the experience of playing, not the judgment of the audience or his own self-criticism.
How did he do that?
He would practice while imagining different scenarios. Sometimes he'd play for friends, sometimes he'd play in different environments, sometimes he'd deliberately introduce distractions. The goal was to make his nervous system understand that performing was safe.
So he was basically training his brain to not panic.
Exactly. And it worked. Years later, when he performed again at a major concert, something remarkable happened. He played flawlessly, not because he was a suddenly better pianist, but because his mind was finally on his side instead of against him.
That's such an encouraging story. So it sounds like the solution isn't just about being more prepared, is it?
No, it really isn't. And that's actually the core thing we want to explore today. A lot of people believe that if they just prepare harder, work longer, study more, then they'll never choke under pressure. But the science shows us something different.
What does it show us?
It shows that preparation is absolutely necessary, but it's not sufficient. You need both preparation and mental resilience. You need to train not just your skills, but your mind's response to stress.
Can anyone do this? Or is this something only talented people can master?
This is available to every single person. Honestly, Sophie, it's like learning any skill. Some people might pick it up faster than others, but anyone can improve. The good news is that there are actual, concrete techniques we can use.
I want to know all of them. What's the first thing someone should do when they feel that pressure building?
The absolute first thing is to become aware of what's happening in your body. Most people are so caught up in their thoughts that they don't notice their body's alarm bells.
What kind of alarm bells?
Your heart rate increases, your hands might shake, your breathing becomes shallow and fast, your muscles tense up, your mouth goes dry. Some people feel butterflies, some people feel a heaviness in their chest.
Oh, I remember now. At my interview, my hands were actually shaking, but I didn't really acknowledge it. I just kept trying to ignore it and push through.
And that's what most people do, which actually makes it worse. The second you notice these signals, that's actually valuable information.
Valuable? How?
Because once you notice, you can actually do something about it. The moment you stop ignoring your body and start acknowledging what's happening, you've already started to regain control.
So what do you do after you notice?
This is where breathing becomes absolutely essential. Now, I know you might have heard this advice before, and you might be thinking, oh, just breathe. Sure, very helpful. But here's why it actually works.
Go ahead, convince me.
When you're under stress, your breathing automatically becomes shallow and fast. This actually reinforces the panic response. Your brain gets the signal that danger is present because your breathing says so. So when you consciously slow down your breathing, you're sending your brain a completely different signal.
You're literally telling your brain that everything is okay?
Exactly. And your brain listens. A simple technique is to breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, and then breathe out through your mouth for a count of 4. That's it.
And it actually helps?
It genuinely does. Try it right now. Just pause and do it once. You'll feel a shift.
Okay, breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding, and out. Wow, I actually do feel calmer.
Right? That's because your nervous system is responding to the signal you're sending it. You're not overriding the stress. You're just helping your brain understand that the situation is manageable.
Okay, so we've got breathing. What's another technique?
The next thing is something I call reframing the narrative. What I mean is you're telling yourself a story about what's happening, and that story is determining how your body responds.
What kind of story?
So imagine two people are about to give a presentation. Person A is thinking, I'm so nervous. I'm going to mess this up. Everyone will judge me. This is a disaster. Person B is thinking, I'm excited about sharing my ideas. I've prepared well. This is an opportunity to connect with people.
Those are very different stories.
Completely different. And here's the mind-blowing part. The nervousness they both feel is actually the same physical sensation. The elevated heart rate, the energy, the focus, it's identical.
It's the same feeling?
Yes, but person A interprets it as fear and person B interprets it as excitement. And that interpretation determines how their body performs.
So it's about telling yourself a better story?
It's about telling yourself a truer story. Because here's the thing, if you're nervous, you probably are excited. You care about doing well. You're engaged. That nervousness is actually energy you can use.
So instead of fighting the nervousness, you can redirect it.
Yes, instead of saying, I'm so nervous, I can't do this, you say, I'm so energized and ready for this. My body is giving me exactly what I need to perform.
Does that actually work, or is it just positive thinking?
It's not just fluffy thinking. There's actual neuroscience behind it. When you change the story you're telling, you change the neural pathways your brain activates. Different thoughts literally light up different parts of your brain.
That's wild. So what's another strategy?
Here's one that's really powerful. It's called anchoring. You create a physical anchor, something small that you can do in the moment that reminds your nervous system that you're safe and prepared.
Like what?
It could be pressing your thumb and finger together. It could be touching a specific object. It could be a particular word you say to yourself. Some athletes tap their chest. Some touch a piece of jewelry.
And how does that help?
So you practice this anchor during calm moments when you're in a relaxed, confident state. You do it over and over, and you pair it with positive affirmations like, I'm prepared, or I can do this. Over time, your nervous system learns to associate that anchor with calmness.
So when you're actually in the high-pressure moment and you do the anchor, your body remembers the calm state.
Exactly. It's like your nervous system has a shortcut back to confidence. It's simple, but it works remarkably well.
I want to try that. What else?
Another thing that's genuinely powerful is what I call presence training. So many people who struggle under pressure are so focused on what might go wrong in the future that they're not actually present in the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking about how I might stumble over words instead of actually saying the words.
Exactly. Your attention was in an imagined future disaster instead of in the actual present moment. Presence training is about bringing your attention back to what's happening right now.
How do you do that?
There are different techniques. One is sensory grounding. You notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It forces your brain to be present.
Does it have to be all 5 senses?
Not necessarily. The point is just to anchor yourself in what's actually real and happening right now. Another technique is tactical breathing combined with focusing on one specific task. Like, if you're about to speak, you focus entirely on saying the first sentence well. That's it. Not the whole speech, just the first sentence.
So you're breaking it down into smaller pieces.
Yes, and each small piece feels manageable. Your brain doesn't get overwhelmed because you're not trying to control the entire situation. You're just controlling the next moment.
That actually makes a lot of sense. You're essentially tricking your brain into feeling less pressure.
Kind of. You're just being strategic about what you focus on. Your brain can only focus on so many things at once, so instead of letting it focus on fear and doubt, you guide it to focus on what's within your control.
Speaking of control, what about the things we can't control, like other people's opinions or unexpected situations that happen?
This is huge, and honestly, this is where a lot of people struggle. They think that controlling the situation will reduce pressure, but the truth is, you can't control the situation.
You can only control how you respond to it.
Exactly. And the moment someone really accepts that, their anxiety actually drops significantly because they stop wasting energy trying to control things outside their control.
How do you practice accepting that?
One way is something called the circle of control exercise. You draw a circle. Inside the circle goes everything you can actually control. Your preparation, your effort, your attitude, your breathing, your focus, how kind you are to yourself.
And outside the circle?
Everything else. Whether the audience likes you, whether you get the job, whether something unexpected happens, technical glitches, other people's reactions, and the exercise is to let the outside circle go. It's not your responsibility.
That actually sounds really freeing.
It is. And when you stop fighting to control things you can't control, you can put all your energy into the things you actually can influence.
Okay, I'm really into this. What about actually preparing in the first place? Does the way you prepare matter?
Oh, it absolutely does. This is important. A lot of people prepare by running through their speech or their presentation the same way over and over. Same environment, same conditions, same everything.
And that's not good?
It's not bad, but it's limited. Because when you show up on game day, everything is different. The environment is different, there are people watching, there might be unexpected interruptions. Your nervous system hasn't practiced handling those things.
Understanding. So you need to practice in different conditions.
Exactly. This is called stress inoculation training. You deliberately practice under challenging conditions so that your nervous system becomes resilient.
What does that look like in practice?
If you're preparing a speech, practice giving it in different locations. Practice with people watching. Practice with distractions. Practice when you're tired. Practice when you're hungry. You're essentially training your nervous system to stay calm regardless of the conditions.
That way, when you're actually doing it for real, it doesn't feel as overwhelming because you've already practiced handling challenges?
Yes, your nervous system is less reactive because it's already been exposed to pressure in controlled ways. It learns that pressure doesn't mean danger.
How does that actually translate to the moment itself, though? Like, you're still probably going to feel nervous, even if you've practiced that way.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. We don't want to eliminate nervousness. That's not the goal. Nervousness is information. It means something matters to you.
Surprised. We don't want to be completely calm?
Not necessarily. A little bit of nervous energy is actually optimal for performance. Athletes call it the zone. It's that state where you're focused and energized, but not panicked.
Curious. How do you find that zone?
It's different for different people, but it's somewhere between completely relaxed and completely panicked. It's that sweet spot where your body is energized and your mind is focused, but you're not overthinking or doubting yourself.
And how do you know if you're in it?
You know because things feel easy. Your skills just flow out naturally. You're not thinking about what you're doing, you're just doing it. Everything feels like it's in slow motion, even though you're moving fast.
That sounds amazing.
It is. And here's what's beautiful. You can train yourself to find that zone more consistently. It's not random. It's actually learnable.
Okay, so let me sum up what I'm hearing. We have breathing, reframing the narrative, anchoring, presence training, understanding what you can and can't control, practicing under stress, and finding your optimal zone. That's a lot of tools.
It is, but you don't have to use all of them at once. Start with one. Maybe it's just breathing. Master that. Then add another. Build your toolkit gradually.
What about when someone's already in the moment and they feel themselves starting to freeze up? Is it too late?
It's never too late. Even if you start to panic, you can pull yourself back. The quickest way is usually breath. A few deep breaths, and you can get back on track.
What if it's too late for that? What if you actually do choke in the moment?
Then something really important happens. You find out that you survived it. You find out that the thing you were afraid of wasn't actually as catastrophic as you imagined.
So there's actually some value in failing.
Absolutely. Failure under pressure is actually one of the best teachers because it teaches your nervous system that pressure doesn't equal danger. You can experience pressure, not perform perfectly, and still be okay.
So you're building resilience.
Exactly. Every time you face a pressure situation, whether you perform well or not, you're training your nervous system to handle it better next time.
That's actually really optimistic.
It is, because it means that no matter what happens, you're always learning and getting better. You can't actually fail at this process.
What about self-compassion? I feel like that's important too.
It's absolutely crucial.
A lot of people add extra pressure on themselves by being self-critical when they don't perform perfectly.
Oh, I definitely did that after my interview. I was so mad at myself.
Right. And that self-criticism actually makes you more anxious about future pressure situations. You start dreading them because you know how harsh you'll be with yourself if things don't go perfectly.
So, what's the alternative?
Treating yourself like you'd treat a friend. If your friend did an interview and stumbled over words, would you criticize them harshly?
No, of course not. I'd be supportive.
So why not do that for yourself? You deserve the same kindness. In fact, kindness to yourself actually improves your performance because it reduces anxiety.
Oh, so being nice to yourself makes you stronger.
Scientifically, yes. Because you're not wasting energy on self-criticism and shame. You're using that energy to actually improve.
That's a powerful message. I think a lot of people need to hear that.
They really do. We're so trained to be hard on ourselves, but it's actually counterproductive. The best performers in any field are the ones who can fail, learn, and move on without excessive self-judgment.
Curious, is there anything else someone should know about handling pressure?
I think the most important thing is understanding that what you're experiencing is totally normal. You're not weak, you're not broken, you're not unsuited for the task.
What you're experiencing is what every single human experiences.
Exactly. It's a human thing, not a personal failure. Once you accept that, a lot of the shame and fear drops away.
And then you can actually work with it?
Yes, you stop fighting against your own nature and start working with it. You use the tools that are available to you and you trust the preparation you've done.
I think I'm going to try some of this, especially the breathing and the presence thing. Those seem doable.
They are totally doable. And I'm really proud of you for being willing to experiment with this. That's actually the first step.
Thanks, Marcus. I really feel like this conversation helped me understand what was happening to me and why.
I'm so glad. And I hope everyone listening has felt the same way. Because here's the final message. You have so much more capability than you probably believe right now.
Pressure doesn't reveal who you are, it reveals who you can become.
When you learn to work with pressure instead of fighting it, you discover capabilities you didn't even know you had.
That's beautiful. So thank you so much for this conversation, Marcus. I know I'm going to be thinking about this for a while.
Thank you for being such a great conversation partner. And to everyone who's watching or listening, I want to say this personally.
You have what it takes. Whatever situation is making you feel pressure right now, you have the tools to handle it.
And we want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell us about a time when you felt pressure. What happened? How did you handle it? Or maybe you're working through this right now.
Share your experience with us, because honestly, that's how we all learn from each other. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear.
And please subscribe if you haven't already. We're putting out new content every week that's designed to help you become more confident, more resilient, and more capable.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We truly appreciate your attention.
Remember, pressure is just an invitation to grow, and you're more ready for that invitation than you think.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing yourself forward.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay strong, stay present, and trust yourself. Thanks for being part of our Talk, Learn, Teach community.